genius with the way they filmed it, though. I mean, how can you make such a boring found object like an old tire on the side of the road, just roll it down, film it, and goddamn.
And then,
it's a fucking film.
Blows people's heads up. All right. Welcome to Hops and Monsters. You caught us talking about Rubber, a movie that has nothing to do with tonight's subject. This is a weekly podcast of uninhibited nerdery. I'm Charlie.
I'm Ben.
We're going to drink some beers tonight, and we're going to talk about vampires.
Yeah, we got to do this. We got to do this by decade. There's so many goddamn vampire films, all right, and so many good ones that tonight we're focusing on vampire films of the 80s.
Exactly, the ones that we love growing up and that we still love for all the campy kind of throwback value that they give us. But
so I've got this list pulled up in front of me of all the top 10 vampire films rated by Metacritic. You know, of the 80s, 70s, 90s, and 2000s. Maybe we should just... let's talk about what we're drinking first.
Well, yeah, how about... Yeah, because I got to open this first.
Open that up, man.
We're sharing a 22, the Undead Party Crasher. This is from Clown Shoes, who we had their space cake when Chad was here. So good. Which was really good. And so they have this... this is more of a zombie artwork, but there's Frankenstein right there.
It's undead, and that fits with the vampire theme.
You got the little Japanese ghost girl up in the corner.
Ooh,
You've got a leprechaun and some sort of werewolf and Frankenstein. So there you go. Monsters. This is a great
Check out Clown
label.
Shoes, you guys. Everything they make is so good, and the graphics on their bottles are incredible.
This is an American Imperial Stout. This is going to be a nice one. So let me open this, and then I'll pour, and you give me the list.
Open it in the mic. Let's hear this.
Well, it's going to be kind of awkward.
Yeah.
Delightful.
I love that sound.
All right. So, Ben, say the list again. Where did you get this list?
Oh, it's Metacritic. But, you know, I mean, so this is what they think are the top films of you know, for vampire related.
Okay.
And
there's yours.
Thank you. And so we're going to start with the 80s tonight. We'll get to the 70s and the Hammer horror films and Christopher Lee, all that in another episode. We'll talk about the vampire films of the 90s. I'm going to read off the top 10 list of the 80s, and I'm sure this will come as no surprise to any of you that Lost Boys, directed by Joel Schumacher in 1987, is number one.
We will be talking about
because it's a fucking great film.
Yeah. That's the almost maybe the quintessential 80s vampire movie. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, Kiefer Sutherland is one of the most menacing vampires I've ever encountered in any film.
Right.
Despite all the campiness going on in there with the two Corey Feldmans.
It's the two Corys. You don't get more 80s than the two Corys. You
don't get more Corey than you do in Lost Boys.
Exactly.
Corey squared.
What's the next?
Number two, here's another really good one. Also high on the campiness, Fright Night.
Yeah, very campy, very cool. Kind of that one to me was like the 80s version of throwing back to the 50s and 60s.
Absolutely. It was kind of like that Hitchcock film where the voyeur through the window, you know.
Oh, yeah, totally.
There was
rear
a
window.
lot of, rear window, totally.
Yeah.
So, okay, number 3, The Hunger by Tony Scott, who I believe is the sibling of Ridley Scott.
Yes. Yeah. That's probably the same one.
David Bowie's in this one.
Ooh, that Clown Shoes. That Undead.
Oh, I got to try this.
Yeah.
Okay, first of all.
Holy shit.
It smells amazing. It's very fermented.
Yeah, it's kind of tart for a Imperial
stout.
Stout.
Okay, yeah, that's a stout, but it's got a really fruity flavor for a stout. There's one swig left in the bottle, Ant.
We're going to leave Ant the last 10%.
Not a fan of the stouts?
I'm not a fan of the stouts.
Okay. I feel you.
This is like
the
border is like a black IPA or a black lager.
We got Ant a black IPA, which is I've never had a black IPA. We'll talk about that maybe later. The Back in Black.
I like it, man.
Amendment.
You know, it's as black as my heart. I love it.
I'm a fan of the char and barbecue, but not in my beer.
Yeah, there you go. Char in the bar. Big Q.
I like that. Char bar.
The Hunger. We'll talk about that. Well, we're just giving you a taste of what's going on tonight.
Yeah, this is just a list I'm running down here.
Yeah.
But you know what? I would say so far, this list nails it spot on as far as.
Yeah.
I totally agree with it. So number 4, Near Dark by Catherine Bigelow, 1987.
Absolutely. I just rewatched that one in anticipation of this episode.
I've only seen parts of that, but I do remember the Spurs, man. Bill Paxton with the Spurs.
Yeah. Bill Paxton. It's a great,
walks on top of a bar and just opens up people's throats by
the bar scene
doing
is
the kicks with the spurs. That's fucking awesome.
Infamous. Ben just did a literal kick in the studio.
I kicked the mic stand just because I had to. All right, so number 5, moving on. Once Bitten by Howard Storm.
Mm-hmm.
Howard Storm? I almost read Howard Stern.
Yeah, Howard Stern's classic
believed it,
vampire
actually.
film. Yeah, Storm.
Was that the one with Jim Carrey?
That is, that's Mr. Jim Carrey.
One of his early roles.
Yeah, I think maybe his very, very first kind of early role.
Before Living Color? And how
I think so. It was
definitely
like
before
85,
Ace Ventura, right?
So, yeah, Living Color was like late 80s. I don't know. I don't remember. Something. But, yeah, definitely not 85.
I remember I saw my ex was watching this about a year ago, actually. We were walking through Target one day and she saw it for like $5 on DVD. She's like, I really like this movie. I'm buying it. I was like, I remember that as a kid.
Yeah.
I didn't really think it was that great, but she was watching it and I got hooked in and I sat down and watched it with her. It was, Jim Carrey's actually pretty fucking funny in it.
Yeah.
Then,
I actually have, I have Once Bitten on Laserdisc just to.
So okay, so because of the comedy here, we have to reference a movie that it actually did not make the list.
Uh-oh.
But I think it's relevant to list here as 5.5.
5.5. Special mention.
Vampire's Kiss.
Yes, Nicolas Cage in one of his wackiest.
Whack, yeah.
I mean, that's the word, right?
This was training for leaving Las Vegas, as far as I'm concerned. The way he filmed
this was training for the Wicker Man remake he did, where he's goes insane and punches that bear.
Yeah,
that's too
I
much.
saw that movie recently, and I was like, "This is why remake this?" I mean, it's pretty goddamn awful.
Well, but he makes it worth watching.
And speaking of which, me and Charlie just decided tonight that we're going to do an episode on disastrous fiasco style remakes and reboots.
Yeah,
coming.
Send us your most hated remake or reboot.
We might mention it on here.
Yeah, we're on Facebook and Twitter and hopsandmonsters@gmail. Tell us, what is your least favorite? What is your most hated remake? I have my list.
You already have it already.
I have my list. Most of them involve Tim Burton, but
okay. So here's number 6.
Right,
here's one that I had no idea. This even was a film. Okay.
Oh,
Vampiros en la Habana, Vampires in Havana, directed by Juan Padron, 1985. I've never heard of it.
We're not going to talk about that one.
Yeah.
No, I don't know what that is.
Sorry, we didn't do any research on it.
Not
sure, it's good.
Cut.
I'll try to catch it at some point.
Oh, yeah, that's some homework for us to do. Yeah, that's on the list now.
Number 7.
Okay.
Elvira, Mistress of the Dark.
Aww, Elvira.
Directed by James Signorelli, 1985.
Nice. You're pretty good with the pronunciations.
No, not. I butchered that Italian there.
No, that was much better than I would have done.
I was distracted because Elvira is fucking hot. I don't even remember this movie, but I'm down with anything she's in.
She helped a lot of us grow up back in the day.
She helped a lot of people grow.
She got us through some tough times.
So, okay, moving on. Number 8, Transylvania 5000, directed by Rudy DeLuca. And then another one I don't really remember much about. Probably more comedy than horror.
Yeah, that's
because it was in the 80s. I guess we have to list it because most of everything in the 80s was more comedy than horror.
Yeah, The vampire movies we're going to talk about tonight aren't necessarily the scariest ones. The ones in the 80s, they have some cool moments, but they're not really like terrifying.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much here the first 4 we listed: Lost Boys, Fright Night, The Hunger, Near Dark. Those are essential watching.
About those. Yeah, that's
really
what
we're going to be talking about.
That's what we're going to sink our teeth into tonight, if you know what I mean. Been waiting weeks to use that. Weeks.
By the way, we are vastly unprepared for tonight because we decided to do this. Normally we record this on a Wednesday, but Ant's going to see Primus because Primus booked a last-minute show at the Fox Theater as a benefit for the ghost ship tragedy that happened in Oakland last week. I don't mean to date the show, but it's got to be said, okay?
Yeah.
Our heart goes out to anyone that knew anyone.
That's been on my mind
that was
nonstop.
there.
Yeah. It's a super tragic thing, and I don't know anyone. I mean, I know a lot of people affected by it personally. And
yeah, I had friends on Facebook that were like checked in and said, like, I was almost going to go there tonight, but I didn't.
Yeah, it's scary. So you're going to so they're having a big event on, well, people hear this, it'll be in the past, but it's at the Fox Theater.
They're playing with a whole bunch of other people, so it's
right.
It's kind of like
It's a huge lineup. Yeah, for sure.
And I can't pass up a time to see Primus. So.
No one's gonna blame you.
Yeah, I mean, and you're going to see him on New Year's Eve, of course. At this 3 weeks later, same venue.
And I just saw them about like a month and a half ago. So
how many times have you seen Primus?
I lost count at like probably 40.
Okay.
Oh, shit.
And that was like 10 years ago, or
because I've been seeing
Very
him
cool.
since 1990, and but
All right.
you've got me.
Well, we're out in West Sonoma County. We gotta get Les Claypool in the studio.
That's right. He practically lives down the street.
Probably is, yeah, right. He's around the corner.
There somewhere.
He's out in the woods somewhere. So this is an episode where we've had less than 24 hours to from
we're going to be doing this off the cuff
from idea to execution. This is a good
but hopefully
day.
it'll be even funnier because we're going to screw up a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, we're good.
All right, so moving on. Number 9.
Oh, we're still doing this.
Yet another film I've never heard of. I've probably seen it, but I just don't remember, okay? My Best Friend is a Vampire, directed by Jimmy Houston, 1988.
Is that like a Babysitter's Club
I have
novel
no
or something? That sounds like a
fucking
very
idea.
like a tween
Yeah.
Dear Diary. My best friend is a vampire.
Maybe it's good. I'm going to have to...
I don't know. Maybe we shouldn't have read off a list of movies we've never heard of.
I mean, I would rather just replace this with I Married an Axe Murderer. That would...
Yeah, exactly.
That seems kind of like in the same genre there.
Well, I was a teenage zombie or something, right? Yeah, like that's better. I like the movies with the eye.
Yeah. Okay, so number 10.
Number 10, capping it off.
All right. This one is actually my favorite and should be number 1.
Whoa.
But, no, Lost Boys is definitely number 1.
Controversy.
And my screen goes black. Okay,
there we go.
Anyway, I'm going to say this is the number 1.5 because it doesn't deserve to be a number 10. It's called Vamp. It's directed by Richard Wenk. I bet that's a name you've never heard of.
I don't know Vamp. 86.
Okay, this movie stars the iconic Grace Jones.
Okay.
Who was huge at that time. She was a famous model from Jamaica.
Okay,
Was a living embodiment of the guy who did the album covers for Duran Duran, Robert Nagel.
Yeah, exactly.
She looks like she was painted into real life.
Yeah.
She had those cheekbones that were like razors.
She had the cheekbones, she had the flat top.
Oh,
haircut,
that hair that was just like a complete eraser head.
Cut a diamond on that hair, probably. Yeah.
So sharp.
She was huge. What was the movie where she plays Mayday in
the
James
Bond movie?
Yeah,
with Richard Walken. Or fucking Richard Walken. Christopher Walken.
Christopher Walken, son of Richard Walken. No. View to a Kill? No.
Yeah, I think it was because Duran Duran actually had that song.
Oh,
it was a View to a Kill.
Whoa. We're going through the looking glass here. So she
we are
she
deep
literally
in the 80s,
looks,
folks.
She looks like
this is San Junipero revisited.
No, she was huge in the 80s, and she was everywhere. So, but I don't know Vamp.
She was in that second Conan movie.
Yeah, The Destroyer.
Yep.
Okay, but you got to tell me about Vamp because I don't know it. You saw it.
I grew up with this movie as a kid, and Lost Boys is the only one that can top this film. Fright Night equals it. Okay, as far as comedy and horror combined.
So I'm going to read the one-sentence IMDb plot for Vamp. 2 fraternity pledges travel to a sleazy bar in search of a stripper for their college friends. Unknown, it is occupied by vampires. I'm in. I mean, that sounds great to me.
Oh, it gets even better. There's more than vampires
Stripper
there,
bar
man.
full of vampires. Billy Drago's in this
Billy
movie?
Drago is a fucking albino psychopath. He's so badass in this.
Snow. His name is Snow.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
No, I've never...
I have to see this movie.
You've got to see it. It's a must-own. It's a must-view, people.
It's a must. The first kiss is the deepest.
If you think you know about vampire films, you don't know nothing unless you've seen this one.
All right. I like it. Vamp. That's a good place to start. And Grace Jones looks like she's got some kind of kabuki makeup in this movie. I'm looking at these pictures.
Yeah, she has like this weird red hair and this white painted face. I mean, she looks kind of, like some cyberpunk aborigine, honestly.
Right. But it says it's kind of a comedy. It's not too serious.
Well, it's frat boys. Come on, so it's gonna be comedic.
Okay. So it's kind of like because the 80s was big on bachelor party type movies, right? Like
Bachelor Party was so awesome. Still my favorite Tom Hanks movie. No joke. Seriously.
Well, I'll say it's my favorite Adrian Zemed movie. Gentlemen, start your boners.
God, he's so good at that.
One of the great all-time lines of film.
It's my dream to fucking just be... I don't care if it's a bachelor party. I just want to have a party that's as insane as that movie.
Oh, God.
The Bachelor Party.
That's funny. Okay, so Vamp kind of has that fun, campy 80s vibe that we're going to talk about more about in this episode.
Yeah, the thing about the 80s is they injected a lot of comedy into their horror then. You know, I mean, even with Lost Boys, which tries to just be horror the whole time, when you've got two Coreys.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Well, I wonder if we're looking back on it with that kind of nostalgic lens, you know, like we're thinking it's campy. I mean, it's not, you know, in the moment. So should we just start talking about Lost Boys?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, because that's the one that I can talk about more. Because that movie comes out in, what, like 87. It's got Kiefer Sutherland. It's got the Coreys. It's got...
Jason Patrick in his first role.
Patrick
never did anything better, unfortunately.
Yeah, he never really broke
peaked
through,
right there.
Right? He was in some good movies in the 90s, but yeah,
I can't think of one. Speed 2?
Speed 2. That was not one of the good movies,
No,
but
I can't.
Willem Dafoe was the bad guy in that movie,
Wait, no,
actually.
there
That wasn't
was
the worst
one
movie.
good movie he was in that he played a serious role. He was a narcotic cop.
Yeah.
What was that?
I think it was just called Narc.
No, Speed?
No, I think it was called Narc, bro. Him and Ray Liotta, right? Like a big fat Ray
yeah,
Liotta.
Jennifer Jason Leigh. Does anyone remember the name of this film?
You're talking into a void right now.
Am I going to have to actually fucking type into fucking Wikipedia?
You might. Well, let me talk about the idea of the nostalgic lens, because like I was going to say, The Lost Boys takes place basically in like Santa Cruz. I don't think it's called Santa Cruz, but it's California coastal surf town.
It's a fictional town that doesn't exist, but it is Santa Cruz.
But it's Santa Cruz. I think it was filmed there. And the vampires are kind of like BMX riding, like leather jacket, you know.
They look like they play in a local metal band.
Yeah, and everyone's got the big hair, right?
They totally act like it too. You missed, sucker.
Yeah, everyone is so 80s in that movie that I wonder if we look back on it now and think it's funny, but back in the day, maybe you're watching that shirtless dude playing the sax, maybe that's legit back in the day. You know, maybe that aesthetic was genuine.
Yeah. No, that guy, okay, that shirtless fucking saxophone player was in Tina Turner's band at the time, and he's actually on the Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome soundtrack.
Excellent. Was he the faceless guy playing guitar?
No, he's in the video of, that she did, you know, We Don't Need Another Hero, I think is the name of the
back
song.
In the day. I was thinking
he's her saxophone player.
Yeah. That's cool.
So he was already making it big, you know,
Yeah.
He was already playing with top-rate players of the day, and
yeah,
Lost Boys was supposed to break him out of obscurity into superstardom, but
I don't know if
he ends up just looking like fucking Leo from Twin Peaks.
Yeah, I think he gets more of that 15 minutes of fame from that one scene. But if you haven't seen Lost Boys, basically a family moves to this coastal California town. The older brother takes up with this gang because he likes the girl. It's all, you know, there's a lot of teenage drama.
Who was that one girl?
The girl was
she was in she was in that Zero movie, Less Than Zero.
Oh yeah. Jamie Gertz.
That's who it is. Yeah. Damn, she was hot at that time.
She played Star in The Lost Boys.
I remember her last role that I remember her in was in that tornado film. What the hell was that? Twister?
Tornado film. She was in Twister?
Yeah, and she had aged considerably.
Oh, she's like the therapist fiance Bill Paxton's lady. Yeah.
Not even hot anymore,
no.
Unfortunately.
Wow,
sorry,
yeah.
Oh, and that was in the 90s when he lost it.
Sorry.
But until then, you were fucking hot.
Anyway, so the older brother becomes a vampire. The younger brother, Corey Haim, takes up with a couple of comic book collecting renegades, one of whom is Corey Feldman.
The Mouse Brothers? What were they called?
Something like that.
Yeah. They were named after rodents or something.
Yeah, right. I don't remember off the top of my head, but they were very serious about their job, about vampire hunting. So
they got all their info from comic books, so it's got to be true, right?
It's got to be true.
It was the internet of the day, comic books.
The Frog Brothers.
That's what it was.
I
knew they were a rodent of some amphibious nature.
But this movie is just, and you know who else is in it that makes me think that this is like the ultimate 80s movie? Alex Winter from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Yeah,
this is like the only other movie where blonde Alex Winter is like a prominent like figure.
No, he's in one more. He's in a Linda Blair. Sorry, Jennifer Jason Leigh and Linda Blair kind of blend together for me. Okay, there was an exploitation movie in 1984 called Savage Streets.
I'm unfamiliar with it.
Well, he's part of this gang that goes and rapes a poor deaf girl.
Jesus, is this a canon film?
It's really fucked up. It should be.
It sounds like a canon film.
It's definitely
he's a
48th Street, New York exploitation cinema.
Well, he's a bad guy in this one too. He's one of the vampires.
He's one of the rapist gang members in Savage Streets. If you can ever track that film down, it's
I don't know. If
actually
I want
one
to.
of Linda Blair's best.
To?
She's kind of badass in it.
Okay, is she? And
then
she gets
Linda
revenge.
Yeah.
So yeah, you got to.
She fucks him up good with a crossbow.
Oh boy,
it's like I Spit on Your Grave Part 4.5.
Okay, we could. Yeah, that's.
So I found the name of that one Patrick.
Okay.
What? I just forgot his fucking
Jason
name.
Patrick.
Yeah, Jason Patrick name.
JP.
It's called Rush.
Oh,
directed by Lily Zanuck.
Okay, I was thinking he's in a movie called Narc. Just put.
Well, this is basically the same film. He is a narc who's hooked on heroin, can't kick it, and Jennifer Jason Leigh is his partner, and Sam Elliott is their police chief, and he's like, he plays the exact same role you would think he would.
I need to be. I
used to be a cocaine addict as well till I shot myself in the toe. Never felt more pain than shooting yourself in the toe, and that's what got me off the blow.
Yeah, I don't think you're supposed to do cocaine through a toe. I don't think that's how that works.
You don't snort it through your toe, folks.
Yeah, I thought that was what heroin's for. Right, guys?
Yeah. Man,
well done,
the depravity that foot fetishes will give you.
Anyways, I don't know. Yeah, so I was going to tell you. I don't know if
giving some context to the background of these characters.
Because the Silver Scream Festival is coming back to Santa Rosa, the film and comic book festival. Last year they had American Werewolf in London.
Oh man, we got to talk about that at some point.
And
we're going to do a John Landis
Nightmare on Elm Street and all that.
episode.
This year they haven't really announced much yet. Silver Scream Film Festival is coming back to Santa Rosa in February. They are doing a Lost Boys feature.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, we're so there.
And they're going to have special guests. I don't know who yet.
We are so
have people
fucking
there. So
there.
If you guys get
Come
a chance,
out and say hi to us.
Yeah, we will be at Silver Scream. Yeah,
because we consider ourselves celebrities.
Hosted by famous monsters of Filmland and the Roxy. Yeah, it was a lot of fun last year, so I'm really looking forward to it again this year. But
are you going to possibly cover it in the boho?
Oh, for sure.
Nice.
Yeah, definitely. As much as I can. I feel like I saw Lost Boys on the big screen at a midnight movie way back in the day, too. And
I saw it in the theater for my first time.
It's a great movie to see on the big screen.
It was in a small-ass theater behind Oliver's in Cotati that used to be there in the mid-'80s.
Wow. Okay. That's going back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also the first theater I saw Nightmare on Elm Street in.
Very cool.
That movie scared the fuck out of me when I first saw it, when I was in 1984. When I was 14 years old, that movie was the shit.
That first one, yeah. A lot of blood in that movie. A lot of
just a lot of creepy imagery and atmosphere.
Yeah.
I got to stop now because we're gonna do a whole
of course
episode on that alone.
Vampires. I like vampires. I mean, I don't, I'm really into the history of vampires from the Middle Ages and all the old kind of occult things that go with them. I love the idea that people used to think that they were real and
that book I just loaned you,
that
has all that stuff in there.
Yeah.
This book is called The Science of Vampires. It's actually the forensic science of vampires by Catherine Ramsland, PhD, who is a forensic pathologist.
And I just Googled vampires, and this is kind of concerning for me, but the first thing that comes up when you Google vampires is real vampire website for real vampires and people wanting to learn.
What?
So I think people really they still think there's
vampires.
I think there's a lot of the...
This is like Facebook where vampires can do a meetup?
It says reading this website will make you wonder.
I'm already wondering.
Yeah, I'm wondering. That's a correct statement right there. I think it is... I don't know. You guys go to vampirewebsite.net. You're going to go down a rabbit hole because I'm doing it right now as we record and I should stop. But there's apparently an endogenous retrovirus that causes it. And Yale University has done a study on it. Okay, sorry.
What? There actually is a forensic study of vampirism?
That's what I love. I love because I love monsters. I grew up, again, on the old Universal monsters. Kind of this subject, the idea of like, well, we got to talk about vampires, just like we got to talk about werewolves and Frankenstein and the Mummy.
Yeah.
So, but the vampire, I think, is the one that's really been able to transcend each decade, each generation, each...
Well,
aesthetic.
Judging by the amount of movies they put out every year, I mean,
still.
How many werewolf movies do you see as opposed to vampires?
Exactly.
Do the math.
Right. And there's
Frankenstein, maybe one every 5 years.
Yeah, exactly. Frankenstein's pretty limited. Wolfman's limited. Mummy's
and no
limited.
Creature from the Black Lagoon remake yet. Come on.
Anytime, people.
You sure we can't do it? Me and you should fucking write that script, man.
I feel like The Host was like a remake of Creature from the Black Lagoon. It's like a sea
I haven't
monster.
seen that yet. It's on.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Korean film, by the way. We got to
but
do an American version of it.
The vampire is the one that you can make it however you want. You know, you can go Anne Rice with Lestat and classic vampires like Victorian.
Well, that's getting into Vampire Lit 101.
You can, but you can go the other direction, like with 30 Days of Night, and they're kind of like these feral, bestial.
Hey, we can't talk about that until we do the fucking 2000 vampire films. I know. All right, we're sticking to the 80s.
But the 80s is a great era because they are trying to figure out how to make it modern. So I like in Lost Boys, and the same thing happens in Fright Night, and I think a little bit in The Hunger too.
Yeah, vampire moves into suburbia.
The vampire in the modern world, and no one believes it's real, but it really is real.
You know what? I've got to just interject right here.
Please do.
Where the fuck is Salem's Lot on this list?
I don't know. Salem's Lot was a TV movie. So
no, it was a real film too. There was a TV movie version. I checked with Paulin. She knows.
Okay.
She schooled
Ben
me on
just
that
pulled
today
a gun on me.
because I sent her a text. I was like, "Hey, we're thinking about talking about these movies: Lost Boys, Fright Night, Hunger, Near Dark. Yeah. What am I missing?" Within seconds, she's like, "Where's Salem's Lot?"
Well,
that girl knows her horror. My God.
Did they release it in theaters, Salem's Lot?
I saw it on TV.
That may just be a Metacritic thing. I didn't make the Metacritic thing.
Can't fucking believe that.
You're looking at me like I just shot someone.
It's not even on the list of the 70s.
Well, this is a tragedy.
What the fuck? Who made this list? This is bullshit.
Metacritic.
I mostly agree with this, but
Metacritic is literally the ratings of everything else put together, so everyone made that list.
Salem's Lot scared the fuck out of me as a kid, man.
That one's scary. That's kind of like again, that's the... No one believes there's really a vampire, and yet there he is, and it's up to the one lone individual.
He's straight out of Nosferatu, man. It's fucking Count Orlok moves to Maine. It's
right. That's Stephen King's take.
Yeah,
right.
Stephen King's take on Dark Shadows.
Right. Oh my God, I know. See, this is why it's hard to just say vampires as a subject because there's thousands and thousands of ways to go in this.
Yeah, well,
direction.
What really is a vampire? Just like what is a zombie? Are they dead or are they not? No, they just eat people.
Yeah.
Vampires, are they dead or are they not? No, the only thing in common they have, they like blood.
They hate daylight.
They fucking need to suck blood like the opium addicts, you know?
Yeah, I mean that's probably what a lot of those stories come from is the idea.
Well, that's what Stephen King actually says in his horror retrospective, Dan's Macabre. It's a fucking great book on the history of horror in general. He considers vampires the most debased junkies ever. Worse than fucking heroin junkies. That's vampires. They need that blood like nothing else.
I feel you, man. All right, well, I need another beer like nothing else.
That's our blood.
We need to take a break. I'm Charlie.
I'm Ben.
This is Hops and Monsters. We are talking vampires, and we'll be back, and we'll see what else we can get to tonight. welcome back to Hops and Monsters. That was the sound of me cracking open Therapist.
A Dust Bowl.
That's a Dust Bowl Brewing Company
love that
beer. This is an Imperial IPA, which is this is a strong one, Ben. So we're gonna take this one nice.
That's
and
why
slow.
we saved it for last.
Hop-centric Imperial IPA that lets you treats you to a heavy dose of hops. Blah blah. Yeah, blah blah blah. It's a beer.
Yep.
We're drinking this. We're talking about vampires, those blood-sucking freaks.
Yep, I definitely need some therapy after this. So
we're gonna
pour
need
away.
Yeah, we are definitely in need of therapy at this point. So we're talking about vampires of the 80s. We've been talking about The Lost Boys, which we love. We didn't
even really talk about it though. You know, we just kind of got sidetracked.
What do you want to talk about? I mean, let's get into it. Why does Corey Haim have a poster of a accordion guy from Germany like on his door? It's a weird movie. It's a totally weird movie.
No, he's got posters of like male models up in his room, and he's like supposed to be a 15-year-old dude with a new wave haircut, you know, like he's in a flock of seagulls or something.
Exactly. That's what that's kind of what I mean.
I wonder if he was able to pick his set pieces, you know. It's like when I was his age, I had fucking Motley Crue and Venom and shit up in my room.
Yeah. Corey Haim is like the worst kind of nerd in The Lost Boys. Like, he's not nerdy about anything.
He's got a pretty
cool.
fucking awesome Malamute though.
That's true.
What was that dog's name? Nanook or something?
Probably, yeah.
I don't know. I have an Alaskan
right.
Malamute.
That sounds
her
right.
name is Scout, and so anyone that's got a Malamute, they're pretty much hybrid wolves.
Yeah, I mean,
fondness in my heart.
I don't know what I mean. The Lost Boys is just one of those where everything is so 80s, like to the extreme.
Oh my god, yeah, they nailed the 80s probably better than any other horror film at that time.
To the point where it almost feels like a parody, or almost, it's like
it's an episode of San Junipero.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
from
Black Mirror, if that was like an actual movie.
Yeah, it's
got
everything
that
is
look.
just so drenched in that 80s vibe. The neon lights, the
Joel Schumacher
clothes.
fucking nailed it.
Yeah, Schumacher, baby.
Nailed the fucking look of that.
Schumacher, who would go on to do the very colorful Batman Forever and Batman and Robin movies.
Oh, the two best Batman films ever.
So
I'm sure you'll all agree. Bat nips. God. Anybody?
Yeah, exactly. The Batman credit card. That's all you gotta say. George Clooney pulls out the Batman American Express.
But what about those fucking, don't they all have like these prominent nipples? Even Alicia Silverstone.
There's a total close-up of him like with the ass chap, like bat suit, like molded cheeks. So if that's what you're into, The Lost Boys is full of that. No, Schumacher can do some good kind of darker movies. He did not choose to bring that aesthetic to Batman for some reason, but The Lost Boys I think is perfect. There's just so much hair in this movie. It's almost everyone has got 9 pounds of hair. It's all done up in some white guy.
But in 1987, that's what you fucking did at the time, right? Dude. You couldn't be metal.
That's what I mean. It's like
unless you knew what you were doing with the hair.
We look back and laugh, but I think it was going for a little bit more of a legit vibe.
Dude,
in
at
87.
that time, you could not have short hair and play in a band. No one would fucking take you seriously. Right. You had to have the long fucking hair.
Well, if you're playing, exactly. If you're playing some metal. But I don't think the guys, they were never in a band, right? The Lost Boys.
They looked like they did.
Yeah. I don't remember them ever playing music, though.
They straight up looked like they were
rode
in
around
Motley Crue.
dirt bikes. Yeah. They were,
It's like, if you have that hair, why don't you fucking play in a band, asshole?
Yeah, if you're going to invest
in
all that leather.
If you had hair like that, you were expected to play music back then.
You're going to have the giant leather jacket with the studs coming out of it and the motorcycle.
Yeah, and to think that, that Kiefer Sutherland went on to fucking save our country, in 24 later on.
So many times
That's
over.
where he came from.
Ooh, I'm drinking
this.
Oh,
wow, this is really fucking
I'm
hoppy.
drinking the Therapist, yeah.
Damn.
That's tasty.
It's kind of
really
has
good.
like sort of a Blind Pig from Russian River Brewery vibe, which is one of my favorites.
This is actually,
as far as IPAs,
because we did that undead stout from Clown Shoes, which was
really tasty,
kind of tart
I love it,
and
I'm
stouty.
gonna buy it again.
Yeah, it was good, but this is kind of a good on the other side.
Interesting contrast for sure.
I like that flavor. Yeah, please, Ant's gonna try that. That one's not. Yeah, you'll like that one, Ant. It's a good.
Yeah, if you're not down with stouts, I think that will. Oh yeah, take a big pull. Oh my god.
Very Russian River.
Very
Yeah.
Russian. Yeah, like
saying
what I
it's
was
very
saying,
Russian
right?
rivery.
But it's not.
He's taking the bottle with him,
Yeah.
folks. And it's like, this is good. It's mine now.
Russian river. It's juicier, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has a slight
Juicy.
kind of fruity flavor,
But it's not.
but it's still definitely an IPA.
It is. It's definitely like an IPA, but it's not like that super dry, crisp Russian River trademark.
I mean, and in fact,
Right.
if anything, that
It's not
sort
a
of
Belgian
reminds me
style IPA. Like,
of Deschutes. It's very reminiscent of Deschutes, I think,
I like it.
especially the fresh squeezed.
thumbs
Although
up from Ant.
fresh squeezed lingers on the tongue a bit longer and mellows.
Yeah, this doesn't.
Yeah, this is still
linger
kind of
as
sharp,
much.
and I still feel like I need to take another sip just to get that aftertaste
do.
out of my mouth.
Go for it. Okay. I've been trying to talk about Fright Night for
Yeah, we were gonna do
45
that.
minutes now, and you keep cutting me off at the pass.
That's what I do.
I want to talk about Fright Night because I love Fright Night. I love Fright
Fuck
Night.
yeah, dude!
This
I watched
one-
the fuck out of that movie
Lost
when I was a
Boys
kid.
is your favorite, maybe, but Fright Night is my favorite for sure. Like, of those movies, Fright Night is the one that I just get the most joy out of watching. And here's why. Not because the main kid's name is Charlie.
Right?
It's a good, I mean, that doesn't hurt. That doesn't hurt my enjoyment of it. But Charlie Brewster, who is the main teenager.
Dude, that is you in a film.
I know.
When I think about it, when I remember that movie,
Right?
everything that kid did in that film, I can picture you doing.
Well, shit, I was just going to talk about how this is the most uncool kid in the world.
Right?
Because Charlie Brewster is this normal kid who a vampire moves in next door. Charlie Brewster could not play this less suave.
Oh, he's
if
such
he
a
tried.
fucking dork.
He flips his shit on day one, and he's like going to the cops. He's like being very vocal
Yeah, it's
about
like,
how
I
he
saw
thinks,
my neighbor kill this
yeah,
woman.
he thinks this guy is a vampire, and he's not afraid to tell people. Consequences be
Yeah.
damned. And of course, no one believes him. Like,
So he pays his best friend $8 to help him find a way to kill this neighbor.
yeah, his friend Evil Ed, who's
The biggest
just
nerd
love-
of any 80s movie.
I love Charlie Brewster in this movie. He is just so not subtle about trying to get this guy ousted as a vampire. He is like, this dude's a vampire. Calls the cops day one. Has
no evidence
he doesn't-
whatsoever.
yeah, he doesn't
but
try to
doesn't care.
investigate for himself. He doesn't try to sneak into the house like you would think, and like, oh, he sees the coffin. No, he like is adamant about this
Yep.
guy being a vampire. It's
So
so
he
funny
fucking
to me.
he pays his friend $8 literally because it's all he have. That's a lot of money in the
Yeah.
80s.
Yeah.
You know, that's probably like
So
the
if you're a
equivalent
teenager
of
in the
$45
80s,
now.
sure.
And so his friend hires Roddy McDowell
Roddy McDowell, and that's the other part we got to
to
talk
go
about.
and investigate his neighbor.
This movie features screen legend Roddy McDowell.
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
it's
this
it's such a throwback to the old Hammer films with Christopher Lee. It's
basically Roddy McDowell is playing the
he's
the
playing Van Helsing, vampire hunter,
right?
you know,
exactly,
extraordinaire.
that you would expect. Washed up.
But he's a washed-up, failed actor, and he needs the money, so he takes
hosts the
it.
late night kind of movie show that we all grew up watching.
Now,
you know?
watch me do it. Remember that one?
Yeah, and you know Roddy McDowell, if you've ever seen Planet of the Apes, he is Cornelius in the first one, and then he plays Caesar in the later ones. So I'm a huge Planet of the Apes fan, and when the new War of the Planet of the Apes
so he's
comes
a
out,
talented thespian.
he's got all genres of nerdom covered.
And don't even fucking go with the lesbian jokes. Thespian means actor.
He's a thespian in the classic sense of the word. But this movie to me is just and Chris Sarandon, who plays Jerry the vampire. I was like, the whole time I was like, where do I know this guy from? Where do I know this guy
Twin
from?
Peaks, man. He was Ray Wise.
He plays
Just kidding.
no.
No, he's Laura Palmer's dad. Totally, in the 80s.
Well, yeah.
Doesn't he look like him?
He looks like, actually, he reminds me
Sounds
more,
like
he
him?
reminds me more of Ben Horn in if you go
Oh,
Twin
fuck.
Peaks
He's kind of like a
characters.
mashup between the two.
But you know where I've seen Chris Sarandon is you made me watch a 70s movie called The Sentinel. Chris Sarandon is
That's a
in
fucking great movie.
He's in The Sentinel. Yeah. So but Fright Night,
If you can't get enough of The Exorcist, check out The Sentinel,
The
folks.
Sentinel. Yeah, we'll be getting into that at another time, I'm sure, because that's a crazy
It's an
70s
underrated gem.
satanic kind of film. Fright Night. I mean, beyond the title being amazing, I just think this is a great film. It's got some great gag special effects. It's got just a little bit of horror, great side characters. The vampire is suave, and yet he turns into that monster. You know, they've kind of figured out how to like use the 80s special effect makeup on vampires, because Jerry Dandridge in this movie turns into kind of that creepy, scaly, you know, yellow eyes, long fingernails.
He kind of turns into one of those creatures from Life Force that we talked about on the aborted episode that we never put out.
Yeah, exactly. He's got that alien-looking, monstrous kind of transformation.
Like mutated bat look.
The bat, well, and then when he turns into a bat, it's like that crazy giant animatronic bat that tries to attack him, tries to attack Charlie or Roddy McDowell. I can't remember, but yeah, Fright Night. I like the remake actually. That was one of the few remakes I think that came out about 5 years ago.
I haven't seen it. It's legit.
I liked it.
I mean,
good. It's not really memorable. Like I'm trying to remember like specific.
You don't remember
scenes.
It like the original? Then I'm not interested.
Yeah, I mean, but Colin Farrell was.
Colin Farrell? Are you fucking kidding me?
Was the vampire? He's pretty good at it. And,
okay, I can see him in that role. Yeah.
Yeah, he's really good at playing a smooth, suave vampire.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
And the kid who sadly we lost him this year, Anton Yelkin, who played
was he Chekhov in Star Wars?
In the new Star Trek.
He was the kid?
He plays the kid in Fright Night. And unfortunately he
run over by his own car
in a total freak accident and
was trying to close the gate on his property. His car, like the parking brake failed and it ran him over. I mean,
it's really terrible. And that kid was so cool. And I just saw him in Green Room. If you haven't seen Green Room,
no, what's Green Room?
Green Room came out earlier this year, like right before he died, actually. And it's basically you would love it actually because he's in a punk band. And they're touring, and Alia Shawkat, who plays Maybe in Arrested Development, is in it.
That's fucking awesome. You know I love Arrested Development, and you know I love touring bands.
Yeah, so. And it's about this touring band who is
You've got to see Deathgasm, by the way, everybody.
I want to see it a lot. Because, when you were telling me about Deathgasm, that made me think of this movie. But this one, they get booked to play this really shady kind of like almost neo-Nazi like club out in the woods somewhere, and it turns into a punk version of Assault on Precinct 13.
Holy shit!
Sense. Yeah, that's the way I'll say it.
Oh my god, bring in the carpentry.
It's so good. It's and Patrick Stewart is the main
Are you
Nazi
fucking kidding
bad
me?
guy.
What?
Yeah.
Captain Picard
versus Chekhov. It's pretty great.
Holy shit!
It's really great.
This sounds epic. I must see this.
It's on Amazon now, I think. We should watch it.
All right, man.
I loved it.
It's on. We're gonna do this.
It's really intense.
I'll watch that if you watch Bang Gang.
Okay.
Modern French cinema.
All right,
it's a modern French love story.
You convinced me.
You remember
vampires?
Kids?
Are there vampires?
You remember the movie Kids? This is like that, but in French.
How many sequels are there? Is there a part 23?
Is there a Bang Bang Gang sequel? Is there Bang Gang Part 2, The Reckoning?
You know what's really awesome is the way the French pronounce Bang Gang. They say it bong gong.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I like bongs and gongs. So there you go.
No, this is pretty much like the show Girls that Lena Dunham puts out. But in French.
All right. It's a deal. We're going to watch it. You'll watch Green Room. You'll probably like Green Room. I think you're going to like it. It's good.
Yeah. You sold me already on it already. I'm just saying, we got to barter here. So if I'm going to watch this, you got to fucking watch the thing that I'm tripping on right now.
Okay, cool. Last 80s vampire movie that we need to talk about tonight, and then we got to go. Near Dark. Maybe the darkest of these,
and the most violent and probably no
movies.
Camp whatsoever about it.
Yeah, this one is really camp free. This one could play out in 2016 pretty much the same way. It's a Western,
but with vampires. Like From Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah,
better.
Exactly. And of course, obvious trivia, they never say the word vampire in Near Dark. They never acknowledge what they are. But they suck blood. They light on fire in the daylight.
Kick the shit out of people with
boot-heeled
spurs.
Yeah. And and this is Catherine Bigelow directed it. Her husband at the time, James Cameron, had just directed a movie called Aliens. And so he
might have heard of that one.
Yeah, you might have heard of that one. And he was like, I have some really good cast cast
do you
members.
want to use some of these actors I got left over from this other project? Because
Yeah.
they need some work, and you need to cast somebody. So
They're great. And Lance Hendrickson and Bill Paxton.
Holy shit.
And,
this sounds like an all-star cast already.
And I always forget the woman who plays Vasquez in Aliens.
I can't remember her name, but she's fucking badass.
I want to call her Jeanette Goldstein. Yeah, that's her. Jeanette. A true chameleon. That's what they say.
She was also in Titanic.
Yeah.
When you see her in Aliens, she's got a shaved head practically, but naturally her hair grows out really curly.
Oh, and she plays the stepmom in Terminator 2, Judgment Day.
Yep. No, she is a Cameron
Wolfie's
regular.
Fine. Wolfie's just fine. She's cool, yeah. So all these great, really cool people are in Near Dark, and it's basically a band of vampires roaming the Southwest.
Wait, a band? Like they play instruments on stage?
No. Like a gypsy caravan. Like they steal an RV.
So a rock band. Same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
I bet you one of those fucking vampires plays a guitar.
This one, I bet if you asked Bill Paxton, he would play guitar. Yeah, he probably is like, yeah, I know guitar. I can play guitar.
No, I see him more as a bass player.
All right. Actually, he's like Animal. He's probably a drummer.
Yeah, actually, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, if we had to go Bill Paxton, instrumentalist.
They're animals.
They're animals.
How can they do that? How do I get out of this chicken shit outfit?
Yeah, Near Dark is great, and again, it's one of the ones that I recently rewatched, so it's on my mind. But Bill Paxton had this great run in the 80s and 90s of just playing the crazy dude. I mean, he does
the guy
it in
who
Aliens.
just loses his shit.
He does it in this movie.
Comes off all badass, but when the action happens, he just falls apart.
He's all bravado.
Just complete anxiety trip.
He's all about just shit talking, and he's just got that great grin.
He cannot walk the talk.
Yeah. But he's pretty badass in this movie. I mean, Near Dark is a pretty legit badass movie when you think about it. They don't really pull any punches. And they have the kid who's a vampire, who's been a kid for who knows how many hundreds of years before Anne Rice.
Oh yeah, Kristen Dunst.
No, before that. Before that. I think this was the younger Pete from Pete and Pete. No, I don't remember. I don't remember who the kid is. But yeah, it's a funny. It's one of those kind of forgotten gems. I feel like, and it's hard to. I couldn't find it anywhere. Honestly, I had to kind of pirate it a little bit. Bit. Don't tell the.
I downloaded 5 minutes off a torrent. I just wanted to see the trailer. Right?
Yeah, but it's like you couldn't even watch it on. You couldn't even rent it on Amazon or anything. I was like, people need to watch this movie. Like people should be seeing this movie.
Unless they have your Laserdisc collection or
right.
my DVD collection of Japanese gore. You're not going to find this shit streaming on Netflix, folks.
Yeah, this is one that's
why we talk about it.
If you can find it, it's worth finding. But yeah, Near Dark, it's hard to find.
We're doing the research for you.
Yeah,
so just listen to whatever we talk about. It's legit, and you'll be entertained.
Yeah, you're welcome. I don't know. So there you go. Vampires of the 80s. That's what I grew up on. That and Bela Lugosi, so I mean that's how far you can go with vampires. You can
you can go further back than that. Well, Count Orlok, man, sure. Nosferatu.
Sure. Okay, you can go further back. I agree. Yeah, that movie is probably what about Nosferatu is probably about.
Which we gotta say, Salem's Lot, Dracula. Pretty much a remake of Nosferatu.
Oh yeah,
in Maine,
and
he relocates to Maine.
We saw The Witch in theaters. Earlier this year.
Fucking great movie. I don't know what it has to do with vampires, but it's a good movie.
Well, listen to this. I've got some news for you. That director, his next movie is going to be a remake of Nosferatu.
Holy shit. Okay.
So that's the report anyways. So when
if you could even attempt to remake that masterpiece,
yeah.
Okay, but
well, did you ever see the Werner Herzog Nosferatu?
No, but I know it's out there.
It's so good. It's really good. It's really good. Do you have it? It's on Amazon or it's on one of those streaming. Klaus Kinski as the vampire.
Klaus Kinski is a fucking nut job.
He's a madman. He's insane,
dude. Fucking for real.
We should do a whole episode just on Klaus Kinski.
Yeah. No, you got to go on Amazon and,
the most insane dude
just
ever.
Order the edition of his biography.
Right.
That guy is the most insane actor.
The biography that Herzog did, the My Best Friend.
I mean, like if you compare it to Rockman's, it's like Motley Crue's biography, The Dirt.
Yeah.
And then Klaus Kinski's book. Just as fucking insane.
They broke the mold with him. There'll never be another. And
there will never be a more insane actor.
All right, vampires. I love them. We'll talk more. We'll get into some different decades at another time.
Yeah, we got 4 more. No, 3 more.
We got a lot. We
got to talk about the 70s with the Hammer films with Christopher Lee. We've got the 2000s, and we're not talking about any Twilight bullshit. Okay? It's not happening.
No, but you know what? Honestly, movies, we are in.
New Moon's not that bad actually. It's the best of the bunch,
Jesus
but we're still not going to talk about it.
I'm not even going to hear that. I'm not going to hear you defend any aspects. No, I'm just kidding.
No fucking glimmery vampires here.
Yeah, no, but we are in kind of a vampire
society,
rich time for movies. Let the Right One In is great. A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night is great. The Only Lovers Left Alive is great. I mean,
the new millennial vampire movies. It's a new renaissance.
I love them.
With what's happening.
Yeah, they are still going strong. So I mean, that's the power of the myth of the legend of the vampire. I mean, again, and
I love how they're just reinventing everything. Right now.
You can take that archetype and do whatever you want with it, and that's what's so cool to me. That's what I love about it.
Fuck yeah.
Anyways, I'm Charlie.
I'm Ben.
We have been.
That's Ant.
That's Ant over there. We've been drinking and kind of talking about vampire movies of the 80s tonight. Thank you for joining us. This was a fun one for me. I had a lot
it's
of
cool
fun.
to come in actually with fucking just one line of notes. For once.
And just see where it goes.
Do it off the cuff and just see what happens. And
this is us.
We're gonna put this out next Monday, and
this is us.
This is us.
There's this show on NBC or some show right now called This Is Us. That's like
we're in this moment together, and once it's passed, it's ancient history.
Every time my fiance is watching it, I just walk in the room and go, "This is us."
I like when I picked you up earlier today. You're like, "Okay, honey, we're off to work.
We're going to work. This is us." No. All right.
Yep.
Bye.
We'll see you next week.